What up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Rolling By podcast. I'm your host, Zach Boyer. Hope you're doing well whenever you are listening to this one. Chase Elliott is a NASCAR Cup Series winner. To jump right into it, his second win of the season. Wow. Just wow. What a start for Chase Elliott. The most popular driver, great crowd. Got to see the most popular driver of NASCAR get the W. Last weekend, we saw the next, what we believe can take us into the mainstream in Carson Osevar, and then the most popular driver gets the win. And look, man, the final couple laps, Chase Elliott, late race restart against Denny Hamlin, was able to clear Hamlin exiting turn two, and that was all she wrote. The clean air was king over that dirty air. Would have been interesting, though, to see if Hamlin, if he got to his outside and stayed there, what that race ending could have looked like. But we'll never know. For Chase Elliott, this is his second win at Texas in the next gen era or the Gen 7 era. I don't know if he won in the Gen 6 era at Texas. I probably should know that. But Chase Elliott is showing that he is the top dog at Hendrick right now. Willing Byron has your occasional top tens, and he's fast and he's competitive. Alex Bowman got his second top five of the season, back-to-back top fives. But he missed a whole month due to vertical symptoms, so still don't really know where he's at. And then Kyle Larson, our defending NASCAR champion, is really, really, really struggling. He crashed today. If Larson doesn't win next weekend, he'll officially be on a 36 race winning streak, which is a full season of NASCAR racing. But Chase Elliott is currently third in the point standings. He's 117 points back from Tyler Reddick, and he's only 8 points back from second place, Denny Hamlin. So Chase is right there for second place, but he's well away, or miles away, I should say, of first place. Chase is going to need to really win a lot of races to gain those points, because as we know, you earn 15 more points winning a race in this year than you did last year. So you can, that big points lead that Reddick has is big because he's won some of those races. So he's getting so many more bonus points than these guys that finish second, third, fourth, fifth. But no, it's great for that team. They were fast all day. Some strategy calls worked out in their way. I shouldn't say it worked out in their way, but they ended up passing Hamlin late in stage one there through a restart. And I felt like that was a changing moment because Hamlin never passed Elliott after that, besides when they had pit stops and Hamlin chose to take over the lead and then come back and pit after Elliott chose to pit the lap before. And I don't know if that really was a big difference maker, but clean air, track position is important. So yeah, I'll be curious to see. I think Elliott is showing that he can now, he's setting himself up to go out here and win 5 races this season or more. You never know. He has 2 wins in the first 11 races, so a win every 5-6 races. Who knows? I guess to be real, that's going to be hard. So 4 wins this year, definitely doable. But yeah, to see Chase Elliott, your most popular driver. Of course, he was very, very consistent last year, but now he's winning. He's winning much earlier than he did last year, which is very good to see, and great for all those Chase Elliott fans. I saw an interesting stat. Chase Elliott has now won a Cup race twice, where Denny Hamlin finished second in. Martinsville, Hamlin finished second in, and today Hamlin finished second. But then Elliott finished second to Denny Hamlin when Denny Hamlin won at Las Vegas. So when it comes to first and second place finishes, Elliott has got the better of Hamlin when they both finished 1-2. So that's just an interesting stat. But yeah, great for Chase Elliott, great for the fans. He's in that Prime Video paint scheme, which is really cool. We only got 2 more races with Fox, and then it is Prime Video time, or Amazon Prime, which I think everyone loves that coverage. They do a really, 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 really good job. Now to get in this race. We have a lot to cover. We're going to talk about this race. Host Farley led the first 20 laps of stage 1, but then Hamlin passed the 77. But then a couple of laps after that, we had the pit stops. The 20 car was the first car to pit on lap 34 of the race, and then that brought everyone else down pit road. The 19 car, who was running second at the time, pitted at lap 35, Chase Briscoe. And then Hamlin on lap 36 pitted from the lead. And then off the pit cycles, because the 19 pitted before the 11. The 11 didn't have as good of a pit stop, so the 11 lost the lead, or at least lost the position to the 19. It wasn't for the lead at the time, but it was going to be the lead once the pit stop cycled through. But all of a sudden, here came the 20 car of Christopher Bell on lap 46. The 20 car passed the 11 for a second. And then soon after that, for the lead, the 20 car Christopher Bell passed the 19. And then, holy crap, the 20 car and Joe Gibbs Racing, they're 1, 2, 3. It's like, holy crap, it's going to be a Joe Gibbs Racing day. But then with 13 to go, Christopher Bell's leading, going through turns 3 and 4, and the 34, not Michael McDowell, Todd Gilliland, got sideways, hit that bump in turns 3 and 4, and then came down the racetrack, and the 20 just got nipped by the 34, Todd Gilliland. It looked like the 20 car, he throttled up. Instead of slowing down and braking like the 11 did, he didn't do that. He just throttled in and just got nipped enough. And then all the momentum the 20 car had got him up sideways, and then he went up towards the wall, over trying to correct it to get straight. He hit the right side of the car really hard on the outside wall there near the finish line, and that ended the 20 car's day. I believe this is now the 7th. I was seeing a stat on Fox. This is now the 7th race where Christopher Bell has finished 19th or worse. Bell has 4 races in the top 10. So Bell's luck isn't going good for him right now. He's got fast cars, you can see when he was running before he crashed. But the luck has to turn around. And I do believe that luck, this NASCAR season's long. There's stretches. There's a middle section, there's a beginning section, a middle section, and then there's an end section, and then you got to add on another 4th section, which is the playoff section. So there's a lot of places where you can have, a slow start or some bad luck. This sport is big on momentum. But then we had some pit stops at the end for stage 1 for a little, 6-lap shootout there. We saw the 60 and the 7 both take 2 tires. So the 77 won the race off pit road, and the 60 came out second. Now, the 60 gained 11 spots for that 2-tire strategy, and the 77 gained 5. But then we saw Erik Jones. He stayed out with a couple other cars, the 47, the 1, the 16, and the 42. They all stayed out on older-ish tires. Well, I guess he got older tires. I guess whatever tires. I guess it was only, 20-plus laps on tires. Well, with 6 laps to go, we saw the 43 Erik Jones. He got the lead and then led those final 6 laps. The 77 got up to second place. And Erik Jones won stage 1. That was his first stage win of his entire NASCAR Cup Series career. Erik Jones has been in the Cup Series for 9 years, I believe. I believe it's 9 years. So congrats to Erik Jones, man. That's awesome. Now, through those pit cycles that we talked about when talking about Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott passed Denny Hamlin on lap, 75. No, lap 77. So that was interesting. I thought it was a big moment because that was the last time, that was the 11 car never got back around the 9 of Chase Elliott. Not sure that was a big moment, but Hamlin really struggled on that restart because he got passed by the 9, and he got passed by the 24, and then he lost track with the 19. So that was just a bad sequence for Hamlin right there. He was first, and then he came out of pit road, I think it was 7th. So he lost a ton of spots because of that. And that, I think, could have been, I believe, a detriment to him losing the race. But that's just my opinion. But then stage 2, well, in lap 93, we saw the 24 of William Byron. He spun out by himself, just hit that bump. There's a big bump in turn 3 and 4 driver was talking about. And if they're wide open pretty much around that turn. If you hit it wrongly, the car bombs out, and luckily some of them were able to save it and not hit the wall, but some others, like Corey Heim late in this race, was not able to do that. But then we had a weird pit stop where on lap 95, the 9 won the race on pit road, but we saw everyone took 2 tires besides the 71 of Michael McDowell, the 2 of Austin Cindric, the 16 of A. Allmendinger, and the 1 car at Ross Chastain. They all took 0 tires and just fuel. I just never seen that. But they didn't run many laps on their tires because they were the ones that majority of those cars were the ones that kind of stayed out or didn't have many laps on their tires, and they wanted to try to keep their track position and not take tires. So it was a very interesting sequence. But during that pit stop, the 19 was trying to get out of his pit box, and the 5 car of Kyle Larson, 19 car Chase Briscoe, whoa. Chase Briscoe was trying to leave. The 5 was trying to come into his pit box, and they made contact. Both contact, I think, had affected their day. Whether or not it cost, the 19 to lose some speed and then the 5 to spin out, not sure. But it definitely affected. They had damage. It definitely probably affected the handling on that car, on both their cars. But the big incident ending Joey Logano's day was when the 22, leaving his pit box, ran in the back of the 41 who was checking up in the middle of pit road trying to get in his pit box, and the 22 didn't slow down enough, and Joey Logano's left front got destroyed, bent the toe link badly, and that ended up 22's day. Now, Joey was not running too great, but he said his car felt like he was getting to a point where, those long runs is what he needed. But Joey Logano, it just adds on to his bad luck, or he's just not been fast. Penske as a whole there's a lot of question marks with them. What's going on? Where's the speed? Blaney, even Ford as a whole, I would still say that Blaney is the only Ford that I can say, yeah, he can compete for the championship. But he's also, having some meh day. He's also struggling too. Besides Phoenix, he's struggled in a lot of his races. But yeah, for Joey, man, it's just, seeing a 3-time champ struggle this much, especially after only winning a championship 2 years ago, it's rare. But, we'll see. Just like we talked about with Christopher Bell. When will, the Fords, when will we start figuring out, when will they start turning it around? RFK has shown some speed, but they were fast, but they're just not, none of the Fords to me have, besides Blaney, as I already said, none of the Fords besides Blaney have that all-out raw race winning pace. On lap 98, we saw Corey Heim, a part-time car. He took the lead because of the way the pit cycle all worked out. He led a bunch of laps before he wrecked after pitting late. But another big incident was on lap 102, the 60 got in the back of the 54 in turns 3 and 4 and shot the 54 up the racetrack hard into the wall. We didn't know why the 54 and the 60 got together and why the 60 looks like he, intentionally got in the back of the 54. Well, they had a little bit of the 60 of Ryan Preece did not like the way the 54 Ty Gibbs was racing him, and he showed his displeasure on the radio. This was the racing that the 60 didn't like by the 54 was, I think it was stage 1, that restart there near the end where Eric Jones won stage 1. This is what Ryan Preece said on the radio. All right, when I get to that 54, I am done with him. Effing idiot. That car is so effing fast, pisses me off. I can't stand when idiots like him have fast race cars where they can do stupid crap and get away with it. That was one heck of a rant. And that wreck ended Ty Gibbs' day, had some massive damage. And then post-race, Ryan Preece gave his thoughts on the incidents. I hate that I wrecked him. I try to race everybody with the amount of respect that I liked in return. When you don't do that, I'm not going to cut you a break. That's what happened. And I think that's a fair statement by Ryan Preece. I think every driver wants to have that respect, and he felt like the 54 did not give him the respect out there at the racetrack. And it ended the 54's day. Now it'll be interesting to see how NASCAR views this, if it's intentional, because it sounded like the 60 intentionally meant to get in the back of him. Now, I don't think he meant to just obliterate him and end his day. But he meant to send a message. And some people will say that is self-policing, which I think that it is. Now look, still, that could have been it was a big wreck, but it could have been bigger. Could have been much bigger, and it could have been a lot more dangerous. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I saw Ty Gibbs did reply to this tweet by Martin Roberger. I mean, that's how you pronounce his name, or Roberger Racing. That he said at least he was honest. He was happy that Ryan Preece was at least honest. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Maybe they have a conversation before we go to Martinsville. But that was a big incident, but not the first big incident of this race. And then moving on, there wasn't really much that was really intriguing in stage 2, besides on lap 160, when the 5-car Kyle Larson just spun out by himself. He got loose at turn 2. He was in front of the 16. I don't know at what time where he was running, but he was not running great. And Kyle Larson said he just lost it. And this was 6 to go in the stage. I'll say right now, guys, Chase Elliott, like I said, is the top guy at Chevrolet. And it's surprising, because I thought Kyle Larson was going to be that guy. But Kyle Larson is one race away from not winning a race in a year. And this is in the same time where he just won a championship. Crazy, guys. It's crazy. But I felt like the momentum, he already, after the Memorial Day double last year, he went down a very bad stretch where he wasn't running great. But then he changed that, and he ran consistently enough with his 3 wins last year to get him to a championship. And then he had some luck in that championship race. Gave him the opportunity to win that championship. But then since then, in this season, he's shown some speed here and there, but he's not the dominant Kyle Larson that we're used to seeing. And look, they are so good that they can turn it around. And who knows, next week at Watkins they could figure it out. Now, still, I don't expect that at Watkins Glen. But then Dover's coming up. He can figure it out at Dover. And then we have the Coke 600, which he's run fast there. So Larson can easily figure it out. But I'm surprised that they are running so poorly. Especially just how talented it is and how good. Like Hendrick Motorsports, they are really, really good. They have all the resources in the world. It's just surprising to see that 5-car struggling so bad. Chase ended up winning stage 2, late race restart there. The 60 and the 6, they stayed out on very old tires. I think 40-plus lap older tires. It might have been more than that. And they got just destroyed in the restart. It was a 1-lap shootout, though. They had a chance. I don't know. It was a smart decision because they stayed out, and then everyone that didn't stay out, they all pitted. So when that stage 2 was over, they stayed out, and then the 60 and 6, they then were outside the top 10, where they were running up there in the middle of the pack, where they could have just pitted. I think the 6 was good on the field. They went and had a good finish, but they chose to then stay out, get some points, which they did. But then they had to pit when everyone else already pitted before that stage 2 ended. So Brad did say on social media that he was just trying to get more for their day, and it didn't work out. It wasn't the right decision. And then stage 3 started on lap 173, and the 9 cleared the 45. And then it was really the 9, the 45, and the 11 were top 3. And then we had the money stop, the final pit stops of the day, where then with 52 laps to go, the 9 and 45 pitted together. And then a lap later, with 51 laps to go, the 11 pitted. And then through that cycle, nothing really changed. The 9, the 45, 11, they came out the way they were running before the pit stop. But then the 45 started to struggle, and he said it started to have a little bit of vibration. So then with 30 laps to go, the 11 passed 45 for a second. And at this time, Elliott, I believe, had a little bit around a 2.5-second lead-ish. And Hamlin was somewhat reeling in a little bit of the 9, but it really stayed at around a second and a half most of that run. A lot of traffic was where the 9 would lose a little bit to the 11. But then I thought it got really interesting there with around, I guess, let's just say with 11 laps to go, when the 67 wrecked. Right around then is where I felt like Hamlin said his car was the best it's ever been, and the 9 was getting held up by lap traffic. The 6 of Branislawski, who was a fast car, was trying to stay in the lead lap. That could have been Hamlin's moment to get around that 9 car late in that race, but he didn't get the opportunity. But then with 11 laps to go, Corey Heim led 69 laps. Did a really, really good job. For a guy that runs part-time, I thought he did a great job, and he showed why he deserves to be in this Cup Series full-time. But he hit that bump in turns 3 and 4 and then got up into the outside wall. We see a lot of guys in this race hit that bump, they get too high in turns 3 and 4, and they get loose, and some of them were able to survive not hitting the wall so hard, but Heim had a very, very big impact. But luckily he was okay. But definitely going to be a great learning experience for Heim. Of course, I bet you it's going to be a tough pill to swallow, not be able to see the white flag and finish this race off and see where he finished. But he led a lot of laps. He probably learned a lot. And he, like I say, he's running a part-time schedule, so he's still trying to feel out and understand this next-gen car. But then the end of this race, what we talked about with the 9 and 11, there was a debate, though. The 11 was debating if they stay out or they pit. I think at first they were going to pit, but then they changed their mind. The majority of the cars chose to stay out. The 45 was the only one up front there. He was at the time was running third. He chose to pit. He restarted 9th, ended up finishing 4th. 45 ended up finishing 4th, but he almost cleared the 17, I guess, 2 laps earlier than the white flag on lap 3. And if he cleared the 17, he might have had something because he would have had some cleaner air there, would have had some momentum, but the 17 was able to stay side by side with the 45, and that killed, any momentum that the 45 minute had with those newer tires. But yeah, it was a fun little finish there. But like we talked about, the 9 was able to clear Hamlin exiting turn 2 with 4 to go there on that restart, and there was nothing the 11 could do. The 9 gets the win. But what everyone is talking about is the incident between Kyle Busch and the 8 and the 42 with John Hunter Nemechek. To me, it looks like the 8 clears himself and wrecks himself in front of the 42. The 42 did not move at all, kept his lane, and the 42 was not clear. Well, then I guess the 8 thinks the 42 did something wrong, is why he wrecked, and he slows up and then just drives into the outside or the inside of the 42, and then he pounds the 42, and then the 42 goes up into the wall, hits it hard, and spins out in front of a couple of cars, or he's up there in the outside wall and then slides back down. Didn't hit any of their cars. He kept going, coming to 1 lap to go, and there was no caution, so we didn't get a race to ended under caution. But Kyle Busch on X said, "I did not start this." The 42 apparently doesn't know where the right side of his car is and where he is in relation to the outside wall. There was 2 feet outside him, and I was judging my left side tires to the hash marks. Always know who you're racing besides. He had a cussing emoji. When you show it a replay, you see the SMT data. The 42 is not against the wall. When you come off the turn, most of the time you'll see the car come right as close as possible to that wall. The 42 was not doing that. There was a good big gap there, good space in between the 42 and the outside wall. And what Kyle was saying, he was judging his right sides to the hash marks on the backstretch. Well, the 42, I guess, was in his line. That's what he thinks. And that's why he wrecked himself into the 42 and cleared himself. And then he was mad at the 42 for what he explained on X and wrecked the 42. I don't think, to me though, it's still the 8's fault he wrecked. Look, I get what he's saying about the 42. I get it, but I don't think the 42 is doing anything wrong. He didn't come down the 8. The 8, this is all starting because of the 8, in my opinion. Now, I get there may be an unwritten rule that the outside car is supposed to get the inside car space. Of course, the 42 kind of gave the 8 a lot more space, and the 42 kind of came up closer to the outside wall, but he didn't do that. So, John Nemechek replied and said, not freaking clear. Great day going and just got wrecked. What a butt. That was another term for butt, but I don't swear on this podcast. But the real question will be, will NASCAR penalize Kyle Busch for wrecking John Hunter Nemechek? You know, of course, they're going to look at the damage. They're going to look at the SMT data. Yeah, it doesn't look good for Kyle Busch. You know, are they going to judge how bad the wreck was? You know, I think I would not be surprised if Kyle Busch gets suspended one race. You know, because still, Kyle Busch is probably right with what he's right with what he's saying, but I don't think the 42 owes the 8 anything. I get what he's saying, but the 42 kept his line. Now, was his line the proper racing etiquette line? Probably not. But to me, the Kyle Busch was going to have, I think they were racing for 12th and 13th. They were going to have a solid day. They ran top 10 most of the race. You know, way the strategy or things worked out, they weren't inside the top 10 there near the end. But instead of that, he ended up finishing, I think, 19th. He went from having a good day, that good momentum building day, after finishing top 10 at Talladega, and now he let his anger boil over and wrecks the 42. And who knows, he may not be racing next weekend. But yeah, that'll be interesting. I'm excited to hear what everyone thinks, though. Of course, that's like my opinion, but I cannot wait to hear what Denny Hamlin thinks about this and Kevin Harvick, because Kevin Harvick on TV literally said he flat out wrecked him. All right, moving on. Finishing results. Chase Elliott first. Great day. Finished 8th in stage 1. 1st in stage 2. Led 87 laps. Great day. Hamlin, another good day. Good points day for him, of course, but I know he wants those wins. Finished 10th in stage 1 and 4th in stage 2. Led 21 laps. Alex Bowman, 2 top 5s. Back-to-back top 5s for him. That's awesome. Great momentum for him. Dealt with vertigo. He was out for a month. That's awesome for Alex. Really happy for him. And then Tyler Reddick. It's still a 109-point lead over second place Denny Hamlin's, and currently in 4th. And finished 4th in this race, I should say. So good day for him. Chris Buescher, good day for that number 17 Ford, top 5, man. Can't ask for much more. And then Daniel Suarez and Carson Osler, Spire Motorsports, top 10. Both drivers were 1-2 to start the race, and now they come home with top 10. So good day for them. William Byron, after spinning, I guess it was in stage 2, spinning out there on lap 93 of stage 2, still comes home and finishes top 10. And then Bubba Wallace, I believe Bubba Wallace finished, Bubba Wallace, I think, started 36th in this race. No, I think it's 37th in this race. And he comes home and finishes 9th. A quiet day. We didn't hear much about Bubba Wallace, but a top 10 day is the way you got to go. And then Ryan Blaney, another good day for him. Not the best Ford, but fast, very fast. 11th, Riley Herbst finishing 11th. Then 1 lap. We're going to Riley Herbst. He finished 8th in stage 2. That's a great day for Riley Herbst. Eric Jones, 1 stage 1, and then he comes home 12th. Practice last, like we talked about, and Ryan Preece, 13th and 14th there. Preece finished 14th. They talked about it. They stayed out in end of stage 2, and it hurt them for the long run of the race. They could have probably had a top 10 day, but they chose to get stage points, and then it hurt them the rest of the race. 15th, Austin Cindric. 16th, Connor Zilch. That's a solid run for him here at a very challenging fast track. And now he's going to Watkins Glen. S2G finished 17th. Those two guys are going to be the guys to watch out for as we go to Watkins Glen. I cannot wait for next week, and hopefully those two are up front battling for a win. 18th, Austin Dillon. 19th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And then 20th of Kyle Busch. We talked about Kyle Busch finished 20th. I thought it was 19th, but it was actually 20th. I lied to myself, and I gave you guys misinformation. Kyle Busch finished 20th. Like we talked about, was running top 10 on most of the race, and he was going to finish 12th. But he chose to, his anger boiled over, and he cost himself a bad finish. He finished 20th. So all the work they did, they qualified 6th, got some stage points, finished 6th in stage 1. They were running up inside the top 10 most of the race, but Kyle Busch's anger boiled over. 21st, John Nemechek, he was involved with Kyle Busch there. 22nd, Zane Smith. 23rd, Chase Briscoe. Really fast, but had some damage from the incident with Kyle Larson. I think it killed some speed from him. So another disappointing day for Chase Briscoe. Let's just scroll. I don't want to go through all these people. No, Corey Heim finished 31st after wrecking there late in stage 3. Todd Gilliland, who spun out there in stage 1 that collected the 20, finished 32nd. Kyle Larson, after crashing, finished 34th. Ty Gibbs, also involved in that wreck with Ryan Preece, finished 36th. Joey Logano, who was involved in the incident on pit road, finished 37th. And then Christopher Bell finished 38th. Tyler Reddick has a 109-point lead over Denny Hamlin. Hamlin's in second, has a 8-point lead over third place Chase Elliott. Ryan Blaney still in fourth there. Has a, I guess I could say, I don't know. He has some about 30-ish points back from Chase Elliott. But Chase Elliott gained a spot in the point standings. Blaney lost a spot. Chris Buescher gained 2 spots in the point standings. Hocevar is now in 6th place. He gained 2 spots in the point standings. Ty Gibbs lost 2 spots in the point standings, 7th. Kyle Larson lost 2 spots in the point standings, minus 7th. Larson is 200 points back from first place Tyler Reddick. Brad Keselowski actually gained a spot in the point standings, is in 9th. William Byron gained a spot, is in 10th. Bubba Wallace gained a spot in 11th. Ryan Preece gained a spot, is in 12th. And Christopher Bell lost 4 spots due to his stage 1 incident. 4 spots, man. Heartbreaker for him. Daniel Schwartz stays in 14th. Austin Cindric gains a spot, is in 15th. And then Chase Briscoe is still in this holding the top 16 spot, the last spot in the chase. Gained a spot. And then Joey Logano, because of his incident, lost 2 spots. Going to be fun to see how Watkins goes. Could allow some guys we're not used to seeing up front get some big points. Overall, this Cup Series race, man, it's going to be Texas chaos. That's the definition of this race, Texas freaking chaos. 23 lead changes, 11 drivers led laps, 7 cautions for 40 laps. Chase Elliott led the most laps. Corey Heim led the second most laps, 69 laps. Hocevar led 40 laps. Christopher Bell led 22 laps. Denny Hamlin led 21 laps. Aaron Jones led 13 laps. I felt like there really once you got in the long run, there wasn't much passing. It was just kind of riding around. The restarts were chaos. I mean, 3 wide, 4 wide. Dirty air was a big deal. You would see if a car came down and crossed someone's bumper, it would take the air off that the car that was getting past, and it would get them really, really tight. It was a very aerodynamic track, I guess Denny Hamlin said. Aerodynamics, dirty air has a big factor. It's also super, super, super fast. This place, you're hauling the mail. Turn 1 and 2, you're getting off the gas, but 3 and 4, you are on the freaking gas. It's awesome. But, look, I think Denny was talking about how the resin that is stained in turns 1 and 2, they're starting to search up there. They're starting to get up in that area and chase that resin or whatnot. So Denny says as they continue to go back here, the track continues to get better and better and better. But for the Rollie Rate, I give it like a 7.2. I felt like after restarts, it was really chill. And there wasn't much that happened. The chaos was created by mistakes because of the way the track is shaped, tire wear, pit road mistakes. Clean air is king. If you have clean air, you're going to be hard to pass. That was what it looked like. I felt like it would have been interesting there if Elliott got held up a little bit more and we didn't have that caution for Corey Heim. If Hamlin would have got there, that would have been really intriguing there. Could have been a little bit of a little cat and mouse game there and to see who could get through the lap traffic better there. We never got that. But still, I think it was a solid race. I don't think, I think there's fans that were there, I think could probably walk away from that place and say, I enjoyed what I watched. But Denny Hamlin, did say, that the place does continue to get better over time. So hopefully it continues to get better. It'll have a whole year to age again before they return there. So overall, fun race. Now to the O'Reilly Series race. I'm just going to talk about it quick. Kyle Larson got the win. He held off there. Justin Allgaier. Justin Allgaier was right there. He was like 16 laps ago. They restarted, and Larson got out there, but then Larson started to fade, and then here came Justin Allgaier, but then Allgaier in that dirty air, Larson just went wherever Allgaier went, and he dirtied up the air for Allgaier, and there was nothing. I mean, Allgaier was staying there, but Larson really good, knew what he had to do, and Allgaier wasn't able to make a last lap pass or make a move there at the end. There was 13 lead changes, 6 drivers led laps. There were 7 cautions for 36 laps. But the move that gave Larson the lead was like 96 laps to go. He was racing for the lead, trying to pass Kyle Zilich. They were side by side. And then here came the 19, entering turns 3 and the 8 and 88 and the 1 of Zilich. They were racing hard. The 88 got out into the 1. I'm watching this. And here came the 19, and it was 3 wide. And then the 88 somehow was able to get by both of them when they were getting loose and sideways, and that gave the 88 the lead. And that was kind of what gave Kyle Larson the control to win this race. It was some spectacular racing, and the O'Reilly Series showed why it is the best product in NASCAR on a consistent basis, dude. It was freaking awesome. Larson won. Allgaier still has a massive points lead. In second, Sam Ayer third. Fourth, Brent Cruz. Fifth, Parker Retzlaff. Sixth, Sheldon Creed. Seventh, Austin Hill. Eighth, Brandon Jones. Ninth, Jesse Love. 10th, Jeremy Clemens. 11th, Carson Quapple. 12th, Anthony Alfredo. 13th, Sammy Smith. 14th, Ryan Sieg. And 15th, William Wallach. That was the O'Reilly Series race. As a whole, really good race. Best race of the week, I would say. It was awesome. And then the Truck Series race, Carson Osvar, late race restart there, was able to race Gio really hard side by side with Gio exiting turn 4, coming to the white flag, got loose there. And then Osvar was able then to take the lead. And Kyle Busch, after having contact in stage 1, I believe, came back and finished second in that race. Carson Osvar, man, what a roll he was on. Wins the Cup race in that Chile's Rodadente, and then comes back and wins the Truck Series race, man. It was really cool for Osvar to get that win. Did another really cool bird out, led 76 laps. It was cool to see Busch come back there. Keenan Honeycutt and Brandon Jones were racing hard there at the end, which then allowed Busch then to take second there. Keenan Honeycutt has been fast, but I think he said that Keenan Honeycutt said that he has to learn how to win. Win these races. I think Honeycutt's just got to be a little more aggressive in the restarts. He's fast, but I don't know what it is. He just doesn't have that. Just doesn't have that raw aggression that I feel like he just needs to make those bigger, bolder moves where I feel like Osvar is willing to make, and even Corey Heim is willing to make. Let me see here. Ben Rhodes. No, wait. Ben Rhodes led 41 laps this race. That was a good run for him. Our top 15 was Osvar first, Busch second, third was Keenan Honeycutt, fourth, Brandon Jones, fifth, Ben Rhodes, sixth, Lane Riggs, seventh, Daniel Hemrick, eighth, Christian Eckes, ninth, Ty Majeski, 10th, Chandler Smith, 11th, Parker Retzlaff, not Parker Retzlaff, 11th was Parker Klingerman in that Ram truck. I'm getting my Parkers mixed up. That was cool for Klingerman to come back in the Truck Series and run solid in the Ram trucks, which Ram has kind of been hit or miss in their speed. Ross Chastain was 12th, 13th, Brendan Queen, 14th, Giovanni Ruggiero, and 15th, Tyler Ingram. Ben Rhodes won Stage 1. Osvar won Stage 2. There was 14 lead changes and 9 drivers led laps. Osvar led the most laps, 8 cautions for 39 laps. Overall, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. I'm currently filming this knowing that I have a lot of editing to do because there was a lot of times I had to restart my sentence because I mumbled or I hated what I was saying. But thank you guys for the support. It means the world. And stay tuned to all my short form content coming out this weekend. Thanks for watching again. Goodbye.